Welcome. Hello there, my name is Femi Akonde, and this is The Big Issue. Well, it is now normal to hear about mass failures in examination, be it WAEC, JAMB, NECO, from secondary schools even to tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Students have in one way or the other accused teachers and lecturers of intentionally sabotaging their efforts at success by making exams too difficult to pass. It is in Nigeria you will see a student studying for an exam with his legs in a bucket of water. Should passing exams be that hard, or could it be part of the drill to success? And this is the reason why we ask on The Big Issue today, are examinations in Nigeria a test for success or a test to see many students fail? Don't go nowhere. Well, the debate will start after this quick break. You're still watching The Big Issue. Welcome back to The Big Issue. Our question today is, are examinations in Nigeria a test for success or a test for failure? Well, on the show today, we prepare before you a table of men who will be discussing issues surrounding examinations in Nigeria. Now, let's welcome on stage Dotun Sodunke. Take anywhere, just take any stand there. Well, Dr. Sodunke is an educational consultant, also an education activist. He is the national president of the Association of Tutorial School Operators. Dr. will shed more light on why he thinks examination in Nigeria is a test of failure. A round of applause again for Dr. Sodunke. And let's welcome Nwabara Good News. Welcome, Nwabara Good News. Take that side of the podium. Nwabara Good News is an educational sociologist, a principal with God First International School. He's also an author of the book On the Road to Kigali. He believes examination in Nigeria is a test for success. Welcome, Nwabara. We also have Tunde Aluko. Let's welcome Tunde Aluko. Tunde Aluko is a graduate of mathematics. He's also an accountant, and he will be sharing his experience with us. He's also, of course, an award winner from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Tunde will be sharing his experience with us, as he will be sharing his experience on why he has seen examination, or why he sees examination as a test for failure. Welcome, Tunde, once again. Well, we are still expecting Ola Arowolo. He's a lecturer and he's one of the youngest you will find around town these days. He is with the School of Communications of the Lagos State University, LASU. That's the journalism department there. He will be here to defend lecturers' actions towards certain examinations in Nigeria. Now, once again, let's welcome our debaters. Okay, we'll start the debate with Good News Nwabara, who's a principal with the God First International School. He believes examination in Nigeria is a test for success. So many people out there don't agree with your standpoint.
Over the years, traditionally, even from the China 210 AD, it's been known that examination had been a standard for testing, for placement, for evaluation, and for accreditation, even for promotion, and placing students and children where they're supposed to be. And if these standards must be set, and if children must be exposed to the same material, and for the benefit of hindsight, as an educational supervisor, I've been in charge of oversight duties to see that the curriculums are well implemented. And when you look at the syllabus and the scheme of work, all children are exposed to the same direction. And if they are to be tested, all things being equal, they are expected to come out with the same result or even minimal differences. So there's no gainsaying the fact that examination must be a test for the success of students.
All right, Tunde Aluko, I observed the look of your face. Of course, it wasn't a pleasant expression when he was making his point. You really don't agree with him on this?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Come on, make your own point.
I've had instances where people have said exactly what you said, that they should give us the same results. But really, when you're in a class, even in a school, we know that there are a lot of factors that have to be considered when you are expecting results from students. Let's say, for instance, in a university, we know there are, especially in our public universities, even our private universities, let's start with this very important point, which is the conducive environment. Our classes are not conducive for learning. Even the hostels are not even good. You don't even have regular power supply, and you expect that students, that the information you have given them, that you expect them to relate it back to you in the exam hall. This is not possible. Really, I'm going to be saying a lot of things here. And let me start with this analogy. There is this man, he's the president and CEO of Texas Armory Corporation. He's Trent Kimball. This test, that's why I call an examination. He's the president of Mercedes-Benz, whatever. So they were going to test bulletproof vehicle. Do you know what this man did? The man entered the vehicle, and we had people that were shooting at him. It was actually 12 shots. I counted it. I saw it over and over again. 12 bullets were shot at the man, and none actually penetrated the car. But if you look at it, our students here, they will have 12 subjects they will do in WAEC. After the first one, just one bullet, they won't even have what it takes to follow it up. The truth of the matter is, over the years, we cannot, like you said, it just gave us the historical analysis of when exams started. But of course, I mean, society evolved, challenges evolved. There are a lot of things we are facing. You can't expect the measure you have used for those of those age and bring it down here. There are a lot of things we are facing, and this thing is not helping us. Okay, let's look at this now. And the problem we're having in Nigeria, especially because I want to narrow it down to Nigeria. Now WAEC is ongoing. Parents at home, they are culprits in what I want to say because of the way we have emphasized on examination. Learning is a process. Examination should not even be the key thing.
Well, we've provoked an interesting debate here today. Are examinations in Nigeria a test for success or failure? Dr. Shodunke is the national president of the Association of Tutorial School Operators. He believes examinations in Nigeria is a test for failure. But you run a tutorial school. So why do you run a tutorial school that, of course, helps students or prepares students for examinations when you believe examinations in Nigeria is a test for failure?
You are putting me on the spot.
Yes,
but
that's why we're here.
But really, what the angle with which I'm going to take it will be different and very local. I'm going to localize it, and honestly, I am going to Nigerianize it, right? I want to solve the immediate problem, right? The problem of my immediate environment. I don't want to talk about China, Ghana, America, certain history. Now, let us look at it critically. Education itself in Nigeria, it is tormented by three things.
Let us know.
The terror, the error, and the horror.
Wow. So you understand with the terror?
The terrors are the people at the ends of affair of education in Nigeria.
The errors.
They are the chief examiner, the JAMB registrar. So the terrors are
the error and the horror.
Some of the VCs, some of the education administrators, some of the ministers of education that we have had in the past, the political interference into education in Nigeria, whereby we don't put the right person in charge of education. The budgeting, 26% for education, so as to enhance good examination, right? But now what we have is less than 9% in education.
So if
right?
we had 26%, that means examination will be permitted as a way to, as a test for success.
No, not really. But I told you that I'm going to talk about Nigeria more. Right? I'm telling you why the issue is so bad here. I am not completely against examination, but what we are saying is that if you are going to do exam, please don't be partial, make it perfect. Now, that is the terror. Those are the terrors, right? These terrors are the ones in charge of education. The kind of policy they churn out is erroneous. E.g., 6334, it didn't work. 5546, it didn't work. 22221, it didn't work. Which system is working? We don't know because it's erroneous and it was, given to us by the terrorists. Now, those people that now consume this erroneous policy, they have now become horror. Now we produce doctors that cannot minister injection. They give you injection, you die. President cannot even take medical whatever here. He goes to London, right? Because he's scared of the terrors that we have as graduates, right? You can't put them in class to teach. They cannot perform. Today, I think always, who will teach my children? That is the question. Now, look at what you are doing now. You should think, who will take over from you?
That is a horror.
That is the horror that we produce from our examination. And you tell us to continue this kind of exam. The lecturer will come to class, will tell you, the total mark is 100. 30 belongs to God. 20 belongs to me. What you can fight for, no matter what you write, is 50. Who are you? Who are those examiners? Those lecturers in... I'm waiting for the fourth person who is representing the lecturers. Those lecturers in Ife, the last man we have, you know what happened between the man and the student. That is what they use exam for most times in Nigeria. You are talking about JAMB exam, for example. They will sell 1.7 million form. The space available in good school, not Chibok University. Good schools that people want to go to, the space available is less than 100,000.
Okay, let me bring in...
So exam is faulty in Nigeria. They should just find a way of getting the right people to advise them and to do it right.
I want to bring in good news. Good news. Some people have said exams are a test of memory, not learning. Students study to pass exams, just to pass exams. After passing the exam, the memory is lost. How do you respond to that?
Well, I wouldn't want us here to sacrifice accuracy on the altar of circumstances. I wouldn't want us here to leave the substance and start pursuing the shadows. You went to school. I went to school. We were exposed to materials that were tested. Now, if a child is not able to remember after reading, the child must have had what we call comprehension problem. And the child wouldn't have learned with the proper cueing, if you learn to cue in the long-term memory so that you can retrieve effectively. People should not see learning as something you rush in and rush out. In fact, that is a problem we should be talking about rather than blaming the examination itself that is used to ascertain the credibility of certain students.
But he said learning is a process, and most times you don't have to pass an exam to learn.
Of course, you learn to be examined, isn't it so?
You're not examining to learn.
At the end of the learning process, you should be examined from what you've learned. And if this is true, it will take a lazy student to support the fact that examination is not a test of knowledge because it doesn't have any knowledge to produce at the end of the examination tunnel. Because let's look at this way. Students today have become what they call a house divided against itself.
It cannot stand.
The time they would use to study their book properly or learn properly so as to be examined, they use it on social medias. When they are not watching, chatting on social media, they are busy watching movies and worse still, pornography, and they call it part of learning. What are you learning?
Social media is part of learning.
What are you learning with something that you're not going to be tested on?
Are you not learning on social media? Must you be tested?
All right. Good news. Yeah. Bring it on.
Yes. We need to look at that. Those are the issues.
Feel free to stand up as you move
Those are the issues that should be addressing. We need to nip that in the bud. And now look at it. A student will come up and tell a lecturer that you did. In fact, this is where I want to profile a solution as a mark of policy, that there should be what we call the National University Commission should set standard that will remove examination from the hands of the sadistic lecturers. Good. So that they will not be victimizing students. Good. And those students will be hiding under the pretense of their inability to succeed and blame those lecturers.
Sadistic lecturers.
Yes.
Now let me come to you, Arowolo. How do you know if a student is keeping up with school? If you don't...
Tunde Aluko.
Tunde Aluko, I beg your pardon. How do you know if a student is keeping up with school if you don't give him an exam?
All right, like I said, I think in our own climate, we've had a problem and we want to continue with the system we have been using. And there's this popular saying that it's only a madman that will continue to do the same thing, the same way, and expect different results. And that has been our own problem. My own point, the way I see this thing is, we have to change the system of examining students. We shouldn't wait till after a semester.
Change it to what?
Just listen to me. We have to really change it. Okay, for instance, now students, when they get into school, all their mind is they wait for the 10th week. All they want to do is, oh, they have the materials already. It will even shock you, some of this. I have a friend, I don't want to mention where he did his master's. What his dad used, the notes the dad used in 1987 for his master is the same notes he used when he did his own in 2015. I don't know if you can comprehend what I'm saying.
Will you blame them when a student's destiny is determined by a set of questions on a piece of paper?
That's what I'm saying, that this thing has to be looked at holistically.
So that means you agree that examination is a test for failure.
It's a failure. That's the point. That's the point. That's what I'm saying.
So we shouldn't have this debate.
No.
Since you're already aligning with him.
No, I'm against him. He said it's a test of success, and I'm saying it's a test of failure.
Yes.
Especially the one that you are constituting in Nigeria. All they do, okay, in the school that I finished from, I remember then, some of my classmates, this is what we do. Now, this is what they say, you know. If they have an exam tomorrow, the night before, they will say, oh, I'm not going to bathe. I'm not going to wear any other clothes. That the clothes I'm wearing
to read,
I will sleep with it and I will go into the examination hall. You know what they are saying?
Maybe the knowledge would have rubbed off on that
If
cloth.
they try to remove the cloth and bring in another one,
yes.
that knowledge will be washed off. If they go to the bedroom and bathe, they are going to wash off the
knowledge.
What is that telling you? Most of us, yeah, we go there to do rote learning. What we call rote learning. We just learn to pass. Immediately we leave the exam, or we forget it. And let me
passing that examination is also very important because it determines the future and the.
I beg to disagree. We have a lot.
Yes, it does.
Excuse me.
Before you move from one class to the other in school, or before you graduate from the university, you have to pass.
Excuse me.
An exam.
If you look at our economy, look at our political space. We've had people. We've rewarded SANS. We've had them as Minister of Power and Steel. I remember the late icon Bola Ige. You know, I mean, you will say this is an academic icon. What did he do? What I'm saying is we should de-emphasize the pen and the paper as a means of examining excellence or knowledge. We need practical solutions to our problem. See, excuse me. See, our educational institute is supposed to be a hub for solution for the country. We have a lot of socio-economic problems. Our university cannot provide solution to it. You cannot even bring out your lecturers, let them become the president, let them become minister of this or that. You won't even see anything. It's because we have passed through the same process. Yes. I've passed through the same process. My child, I pray it will not pass through this process.
Amen.
And I pray, this is how, see, the millennials, I have an advice for us. We have to speak up. We have to stand up, we have to dig up. Seriously, we have to look for solutions. Because these ones that are there, they do not care. We are doing 1 year masters. I think the minister said they should increase it to 2 years. You are not even thinking about the robustness of the study.
All right, Tunde Aluko, I'll have to cut you there. We need to take a quick break at this point. When we return, Ola Arowolo, a young lecturer. Of course, I hope he's not one of the sadistic ones that he was referring to. He will be joining us after the break. You're still watching The Big Issue. This is the big issue. Ola Arowolo, a lecturer with the Lagos State University, has just joined us. Let's welcome Ola Arowolo. Ola Arowolo, of course, a young lecturer, one of the youngest you'll find around town, and he is with the School of Communications, Lagos State University. That's the journalism department. He's here to defend lecturers' action towards setting exams in schools. Ola Arowolo, before you arrived, he said that students are at the mercy of sadistic lecturers. But you are here now to defend the position of lecturers, why they have to set exams as a test for a student's knowledge. Some others believe that examination is a test for failure and it is unnecessary. What is your standpoint? Let's hear you.
Well, for every industry and for the world itself, and as a matter of fact that we're in this world, we're in to be tested. So at a point in time, examination started because of the reason to justify meritocracy. She gets. So the thing is that we have to churn out a particular batch of people who are good and know those people that are bad, and then make judgment and put the right people in leadership.
And you think examination is the right way of separating the wheat from the chaff, the men from the boys?
Well, it depends on the system. But in the schooling system here in Nigeria, it differs from institutions to institutions. Let's say, for instance, you've taken a course, you've taught Jyotin. The only way you can assess the student to know if actually they've learned whatever you have taught, be it practical or theoretical, is through either theoretical examination or practical examination. And whatever they give back is a feedback based that will show whether or not the aim of the subject or the course has been achieved.
But why is it that the lecturers make it really difficult? Like he talked about the horror, the error, and the terror. Correct. He talked about the terror. I think he started with the terror, the error, and the horror. And all this boils down to the way our institutions, especially the educational institutions, are formed and even function. And the way the lecturers come out or take that examination process as a means of frustrating or carrying out their frustration on the students.
Well, I think for some it's based on individual differences.
And you remember, it's just a set of questions on a sheet of paper.
Well, that's what you think, but based on individual lecturer differences and their approach to it, and their experiences also matters. I'm aware that there are some sadists who believes that because they've gone through rigors and they suffered for it, others should suffer for it, which is not supposed to be so. It's just an ideological.
So you're not one of those sadists, you're a lecturer, you're not one of those sadists.
No, I'm not a sadist. I'm not a sadist, and my student can attest to that fact.
A round of applause for a happy lecturer.
I used to say that, well, the marks here are owned by the school, and you are here to prove that you can earn it. And the process, both the test and the examination, is a process which you'll be subjected to, through which you can prove to us that you have actually participated and you know what you have paid for and what you have come to learn. So basically, examination is just to test your intelligence quotient. However, some people get it wrong and they go through the wrong procedures to examine people. A good instance is German question. They call it German question because it's filling the gap. It's not a test of knowledge. It is a test of cramming, and it's not a way to test students. So for different courses, depending on the aims and objective of that course, if it is for for hands-on training, if it is theoretical, if it is just for you to have knowledge of history, there are different approaches to teaching, and there are different approaches to learning, and there are different approaches to examining students. So in your inability to differentiate these approaches and the procedures makes you a bad lecturer. But your ability to design between how I'm going to assess a practical-based course, a theoretical-based course, an history-based course, will then differentiate you from a bad lecturer. So for a good lecturer will know the procedures, will know the methodologies, will know the philosophy, and will know the foundation to lay before examining such students. So they won't just be in the examination or trying to solve puzzles that they don't even know anything about.
There's a methodology, there's a way of examining students. You don't just go into the exam hall and bring questions from, you bring abstract questions and ask the students to answer those questions. The students would have learned that particular subject, and they can then be tested on that particular subject. And then the questions, of course, on that subject will be set, and they are made to answer those questions. So any student that can't pass an examination is a bad student, from what he has said, because the students have gone through that process of learning. So the examination shouldn't be a difficult or a scary thing for the students.
You see, when we struggle the way you are struggling to explain, explain things, it means the truth is missing.
What is the
right?
truth?
What truth, sir?
What truth?
The truth is that my brother here, Mr. Lecturer, I just said that exam can be compared to test of life. And I would like to quickly say this in Yoruba.
And you have to translate in English.
I will say it in English. Tell the lecturers that Idonwo is very from Adonwo. That is, exam is different from temptation. By the time you come to tell me that examination is like testing life, that is to show you the way they take it. You miss an exam, they make it an issue. You are very ill, they give you exam, right? You cannot write too much.
In the first place,
excuse
why
me, sir.
should you be
It's not yet,
it's
not yet fire for fire.
Mr. Lecturer.
It's not a fire for fire.
We'll get to a segment where it's going to be a free for all. Of course, they are all your sparring partners, and likewise for the rest of you. But it's not yet the fire for fire segment. Shoduke,
thank you. God bless you. May you not be given Adonwo. He compared it to life test. You understand? Exam should not be a do or die thing. A typical Nigerian student is the most examined. And it's like, compared to those outside the world, it's like the one with the lowest IQ. Have you asked yourself a question? I have a lot of students that could not make it in Nigeria. JAMB is jambing them. WAEC is walloping them. NECO is necorizing them, right? And once they get abroad, they come first. In a better environment, you understand? Then that means something is wrong with the system, and something is wrong with the exam being set in Nigeria. I am not against being examined, don't get me wrong. But thank God the topic is examination in Nigeria by the terrorists. And most of these lecturers are there. You just said it's not sadistic. But what about, permit me to use this word, sadistic? Whereby they want to date a particular girl or set of girls, and we know the one of Ife, what happened there.
It's vice versa. Right? It's not just the men that are culprits in this.
Well, I've never heard of a lady lecturer.
You have never heard. It doesn't mean there are no
I've
cases.
Never heard. I'm talking based on my little experience. You know. So what I'm saying is that by the time they molest, they sit down. Some of these lecturers actually sit down and say, look, I have failed her, right? When I take her, then I'll pass her to you. And all these things are happening within the school environment. And these lecturers even see themselves as demigod. And do they really teach? They come to class, they mention 1, 2, 3, they say, go and read the remaining. Then let me tell you what students do. Let me tell you what students do. Simple thing. That's to tell you that exam in Nigeria, especially in our institution, is just to pass, not to understand. They do what we call, right when we're in school, we call it agberu beso.
I've worked in secondary school. I don't know if we understand what education is all about. But if we don't, we are here to be educated. True. Every child is given certificates for having been found worthy in both character and learning.
Good.
And the designers of educational materials have encoded the cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor part of learning into the learning process. And in the school system, in secondary school, you have what we call the first STEAM test, the second STEAM test, and the third one that will form part of the continuous assessment. At the end of the term, a child continuous assessment is added with the exam. So it's not just exam. And for those of them that feel people cram something to go and pour it, what kind of student We're whiling away time in the bushes, beating drums, sitting under cashew trees, or chatting away his life, and is waiting on the day before the exam to cram something and go and pour it out. I think it's an aberration. And when my colleague, who had vowed not to mention things outside Nigeria, is making a comparison, juxtaposing Nigeria with American system of learning, I begin to laugh. Are we not blaming the environment? Why not blame the circumstances that are militating to the ineffective learning system, and let's see how we can correct it, rather than blaming the end product of examination?
All right, then. All right, we have an interjection from a member of the audience. Lady, go ahead. Who's got something to say? All right, let's pass the microphone up there. His hand is up. Yep. All right.
Thank you, sir. While I was in school, there was a time the rector called every student because he saw that the students were not doing so well. And then he asked, what's the problem? Is it that you guys don't understand? The issue we have is our lecturers. It made me realize that every student is meant to be in class for 4 days in 6 days, excluding Sunday. It might be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, leaving you 2 days to go and do personal reading on what you've been taught. Now, the lecturers are the one who made the timetable of when to come to class. But those lecturers will not. They will tell you they still have some other teachings to do in different schools. And the period you are meant to be doing your own personal learning, they will tell you to come to school that day to come and receive lecture. You end up leaving around 8 o'clock in the night to other schools. Now, this is what I'm going to...
These are the sadistic lecturers he was referring to.
When all this happen, that you don't give us opportunity to even go back to read, and then you expect us to always wake up. It's not everybody that wake up around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to read. We are different. Now, you now expect us, when you did not give us time to actually read what you've taught us, to do a test. What do we want to write in the test? You're actually testing us for what you failed to teach us. And permit me to say this. Do you know it's possible you mark me 80 in this course, and then they call another lecturer in another school to mark that same thing, and the person marks me 50. So,
can I respond?
Yes, yeah, sure, you can.
Well, I want to believe that as a student, what you needed then was motivation. And you got discouragement. And that led you to feeling awkward. Now, look at it. There's no way you will read seriously without succeeding. If the system in Nigeria... Now, listen. A student should be able to have timetable. You have what we call personal timetable to read. Yes. The time that you will use to do other things, you can use it to read. Now, look at a lecturer giving you time. I started with making a mark of policy that the National University Commission should set standard in the universities. I don't want you to blame the circumstances and the problem that the lecturers have set before you, or giving you your own time to come and satisfy their own time, as the reason why we should not examine. If we say the condition of learning in Nigeria is the reason for failure, I would agree. Yeah. But if we say examination is a test of failure, I will disagree, because you know from the day when you enter school that you'll be examined. Are you waiting for someone to tell you that you'll be examined?
Sir, there are different ways of examining. Must it be in written form? If truly you've taught me so well,
it mustn't.
There must be different ways.
It mustn't.
To be examined.
That is why I mentioned the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor.
Okay, and I want to say something here, and I would like Ola Arowolo to respond to that. You know, some people have said that it's not the best students that pass examinations, but the smartest students. And cheating is also a factor. It's not all students that pass examinations that have passed because of the knowledge they have on that subject matter. Sometimes they find ways to cut corners and pass that examination. And this happens in schools. I will celebrate students who graduated first class, 2-1s, and the rest, because they have found a way to, of course, to cheat the system and to cut corners. They are not the best students, but they are the smartest students. And most of the successful people in the world today, like some people will tell you, oh, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates and co, we are never examined in school.
The very first question I would like to throw back to you is this, or to anybody that is listening to me right now. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book, Why A Students Work for C Students and B Students Work for the government.
Yeah.
The difference is
They said the A students work for the B students, the C students run the businesses, and the D students dedicate the building. So it's like we all want to be the D students, the ones that will dedicate the building.
Anyone who go through the learning process the wrong way will definitely force himself to cram. And at the end of the day, if you eventually graduate on top of the class, the money market, as the case is now, will determine whether or not it's going to survive or not. So whatever, if you have been put through a process, if you don't learn it right, you don't know it, you do la crème la peau, the later end will justify what matters. Whether or not you have gotten the value which you paid for, whether you have gotten the value of what you went for. If you have not gotten it, then you know that you have not really learned anything and you don't really want the certificate. I've seen people who earn certificate in private schools or even in public schools. They are first-class graduates, but when they get to, once they graduate after NYSC service, they get to find no job because they've not learned the right thing. I want to say this, and to everybody, for every theoretical course, for everything that is theoretical, there is a practical and there's a life to it. So I'm saying it, that whatever you are reading, before that thing is written down, there is an idea, a living idea. So when you are saying, if you are taught news writing and reporting, you are meant to channel your effort towards how to write a news. And there is no way you can know how to write a news without knowing how to answer the question of what is a news, what are the principles of a news. You know, there's no way you can deliver the outcome. You know, at the beginning of the lecture, for the educational consultant here, at the beginning of the lecture, I said this course is set to achieve this. At the end of the course, if as a student,
As objective.
you don't achieve that, then you are a failure even before exam. So you get. So examination, actually from the outset, let me go back to history now. In Western Europe, there was never exam before. They dated back to the philosophical age. It is just based on your intelligence and people's judgment that this person is good, this person can become this person can lead us, based on your delivery. So comparing it with somebody who has even passed the exam, or who have failed the exam, if you can deliver, that is what matters. That is what is key. That is what is education.
You know, someone said something that we have so many entrepreneurs out there today, but not all of them are students of business administration. Or
See, the same thing we're talking about. Whether or not you have a certificate in business administration does not justify whether that you'll be able to manage a business. Your practical ability, you can even boycott the theoretical. If you are endowed or you are exposed to the practicality of it, you will know how to manage business.
All right, an interjection from a member of the audience. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
For me, and also a suggestion, what I believe.
Okay.
I believe that this examination of a thing is either you pass or you fail. And I don't believe that you are supposed to blame either the lecturer or the student.
Thank you.
Because there are some students, they believe that no matter, even if they cannot read, they will still find their way through. While some lecturers, due to their selfish interests, even if they teach or they don't teach, they will set their question because they know that you will come back to them because that way they are looking for another thing.
Yes.
For the students, what are we going to do? We don't have anything to do, but I know that definitely those lecturers, one day they must find their way out and somebody will be there to do something about it. What I'm telling the students, you just have to be prayerful and wait till that day. Because if you watch now, some of those lecturers, you're already seeing them now. Either when they try to deceive the students, God will bring them out. It's happening already. Or am I lying? So I believe that we students, provided you have it in mind that you want to go to school and you want to be successful and you want to graduate with a top class, you just keep reading.
Yes.
Keep reading.
Don't
believe that you are not in class, you don't read, and you expect at the end of the examination you will pass. It's not possible. There's no miracle like that.
All right, we have to be prayerful. Well, at this point, and on a very prayerful note, we'll take a quick break. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, it will be time for us to get to the Fire for Fire segment. You're still watching The Big Issue. we have succeeded in provoking an interesting debate here today. It is now the Fire for Fire segment. Time for our debaters to get neck on neck. Well, gentlemen, in this segment, neck on neck, it's fire for fire. You can make your point, you can interject, likewise you and the rest of you at any point, but all we ask for is decorum, and then mind your language. Members of the audience also at this point, if you still have your questions, comments, observations, feel free to indicate by a raise of hand, and then I will let you make your point. So the ball is in your court. Aluko, fire. Feel free at any point you want to interject, and yeah.
I think we have a problem and it should be tackled from the root.
Let's tackle it.
Our problem is actually, for me, it's actually political. Okay. Look at the process of even employing these lecturers, even he himself. I don't even know how he was employed. The ongoing, what's it called now? Lagos State teachers recruitment, about 2,000 spaces, and we have over 65,000, I mean, that are jostling for the position. But at the end of the day, I can tell you, not even the governor can come here and tell me that they have a very good way of recruiting these people that is not political. These are where the problems are. When you get the wrong teachers to come and teach the student, coupled with the fact that the curriculum is actually faulty, what are you going to get? It is what I call comeuppance. You are going to get a negative outcome. And it is just too fundamental. So there is no two way to it. All this one that is saying that we teach students, why didn't they read? Are you even teaching them the writing?
God bless you.
God
bless you.
The curriculum, most of this curriculum I'm talking about, look at it. There was a time when University of Ibadan was actually the hub of academics. You know, they had foreign lecturers teaching them. You know, the objective is mentioned then. They provided the environment for that objective and goals to be met. But now here, look at the schools.
Have you ever seen the WAEC exam set against the scheme of work?
Don't even go there. The WAEC you are even talking about. Go back to all
the questions.
Go back to all these students. Go back to all these students. Like I told you, the president of the Mercedes-Benz, you know, he was so sure that if you shoot at me 13 times, I'm not going to die. Your students, bring them here. Are you so sure that if you subject them to the right exam, the normal exam, without them being aided, they are going to pass?
And if they don't pass, what are the conditions necessary for not passing?
We all know what
are they not passing because they are not intelligent?
The ongoing exam, parents and teachers, they are aiding their students, going with money.
That is the factor that we need to address. But that's not the issue.
It's actually the issue because I thought it's a political issue. Most of these guys that are even employed, they don't even know the job.
You know?
As much as I want to agree with you that our problem is political, I want to also point out that even within the academic itself, within the system, the education system itself, the curriculum on which we operate, it's bad, actually.
Hey, you are supporting us now.
Listen, let me finish my argument. Welcome. I'm going to agree on that basis that it is political. The system was never reviewed. As a matter of fact, both the primary, the secondary, the university education was actually designed because they want to churn out civil servants. Go back to history. It was to prepare leaders to replace those people that to replace the colonial masters at the point then. But it was never reviewed. Even when it is being reviewed, it is always belated. Everything belated. Good. Fine, we agree.
Yes.
But I want to let you know that there are many lecturers in the institutions who you won't hear their voice, but they're trying and putting all their effort, even their personal resources.
Hold on, let's hear the voice. Let's hear the voice of a member of the audience.
Even when I can't ascertain.
Let's hear his voice, please. Your voice now.
Okay.
Let's look at it from this angle.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the debate is examination
a test for success or failure.
Success or failure. Let's put aside from the every other circumstance that leads to examination cannot be taken away from the life of an individual. Okay, but I'm saying that examination is just a necessary evil for us. Okay, it's a necessary evil that we need to overcome. Okay, because if you don't, sometimes I know what examination have made me do. Sometimes it has grown me to the point that I could master things under short period of time.
Not just that,
learn things. I can really tell you what I learned in 100 level. I was talking to my younger brother today. I was writing an exam, philosophy of science. I was giving him things I read back then.
how should the IQ of a student be tested?
I perfectly agree with those qualities you mentioned now, honestly. I believe in those ones, especially in Nigeria. He said that I compare Nigeria and US or whatever. But somehow they are doing it right, somehow, there. We are not doing it right here. That is just the argument. For example, in so-called developed countries, they will tell you open book test, open book exam. We really have, occasionally we have that, but it's not so common. Here they will make it so hard. You will rack your brain and your brain will crack.
Can we bring that into the system?
I'm coming.
No, you're already talking.
Wait.
Can we bring that into the system?
Now, what I am saying is that most of these policies they are talking about, they are just policies on the table. The implementation is poor. Somebody talked about continuous assessment here. I put it to Nigeria government. Let me be challenged. You know me very well. All of them, there is nothing like continuous assessment.
Where?
Especially, I'm talking about secondary school, WAEC exam, NECO exam. There is nothing
for
like
family exams.
Wait now.
Oh, come on.
Wait, Mr. Man, I know what I'm saying.
Forgotten what you learned.
I know what I'm saying, not what I learned, is what I'm
forgetting what you.
Are
you saying there's no continuous assessment to test
there is
exam?
No, these are students say, I will ask them, wait.
Where do you get your 40 and 60?
It's not 40, no 60.
Look at this man.
WAEC is over 100 now.
Not WAEC this time. Before WAEC. Before WAEC.
I am talking about WAEC.
See, is that the only exam you know, WAEC?
It's an exam. And it's a general exam.
The people that fail.
Are you advocating that?
Let the students say WAEC. Let the students say WAEC. Do you agree? No, they don't. Go ahead.
All right, my name is John Akere. Mr. Goodness, I have a question for you, knowing the fact that you're a principal. In your school, have you had a case of a student fail and repeat a class? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. That's a no. Private school, you don't fail.
Are you putting it to me that is a no?
Yes, I'm telling you.
Some repeat class on trial.
The reason is now you are.
They don't repeat in your school. In your school, they only repeat.
You don't know what happened.
The money is about the cash. Pay and pass.
Hello.
Pay and pass.
No, let him finish. No, let him finish. Go ahead, go. Come. No, talk.
Now, this is the point. In private schools, you don't fail.
Yes, God bless you.
The reason why you don't fail
is that a fact?
It's a
in
fact.
Private schools, you don't fail.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
I think we should go back to the question of this debate, which say that is examination a true test of success. We should ask ourselves in first place, what is the criteria to be successful? In my own school where I graduated from, I'm a third class graduate.
God bless you.
And I studied microbiology. I never touched a microscope until my year 3. And you asked me on an exam to draw the structure of E. coli that I've not seen.
Nigeria.
Some of my colleagues are watching me now will tell you. There are some of our lecturers that read directly from Wikipedia and dictate to us in class. Presently, she is a lecturer in EXU till now. And I asked myself a question. When you are teaching students in this line and regard, what kind of graduate do you want to churn out to give us solutions?
That is what I'm calling horror.
So,
horror. Those are the horrors.
We should go back to the era where we have different cadre of gradings. Nobody is a failure. Either you pass the exam or not.
Yes.
Because we all have different learning patterns.
God bless you.
The way you learn might not be the way I learn. And you put all of us in the same class and say because we are classmates, we are age mates, intellectually we are the same. We are not. So all of us cannot pass the exam. For the fact that I didn't pass the exam does not make me a failure.
But this is not enough.
Let me make, you should get it right.
Points taken.
Wow, boss. I think that I respond to that. That question or that comment is for Mr. Lecturer.
Thank you very much for allowing me. You see, whether it is a test for success or it is a test for failure, it is first an examination. The outcome determines whether you are a success or you are a failure, based on what you have been taught. That is one. Let's leave that. See, no, you said you are.
Are you a success?
I am a success because I'm where I am.
No. Is it because you pass exam?
No, not because you pass
exam. Success examination does not have much to do with your success. Examination does not have anything. And I just mentioned now that the continuous assessment that they submit for SS3 students is always in the security house of WAEC. That is why external candidate pass exam. Do they do continuous assessment from SS1 to 3? Come on, I know what I'm saying.
Mr. Good News, Mr. Arowolo, on this very controversial note, I'll take a quick break, and when we return, it will be time to bring the show home. You're still watching The Big Issue. Are examinations in Nigeria a test for success or a test for failure? That has been the topic of debate today. And of course, 4 gentlemen have done justice from their own standpoint. It's now time for them to have their last take on this subject matter. Shouldn't care.
From me again.
Yes.
Okay, well.
The most controversial here.
Yeah, thank you. I like that title. Well, for me, honestly and sincerely, there's nothing wrong with being examined.
Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with examination. At different stages, right, as we move up, right, in life itself and in schools, we need to be examined. Even you yourself, you need to examine yourself. You know, we need examination. But let those at the ends of affairs know that they have become terrors. That the need to change the format of the exam and putting everything on exam and paper to judge, it is very unfair. Have we tested teachers before in Nigeria? Yes. Did they pass? No.
Most of
them. Go to Edo, go to Kaduna, you see problem. Mr. Lecturer here, give a very intelligent student in his class an opportunity to test him, he will fail.
All right then, Mr. Lecturer. Mr. Lecturer Ola Arowolo, your last take on this subject matter.
I agree with me that life needs to be examined itself.
But so the teacher also needs to be examined. That's what he said too.
Of course, the teacher needs to be examined, and your examination is every day. And if you are not examined, of course, you will not deliver your lecture well. So for every lecturer, every teacher, your day of examination is every day you stand on the podium to teach your students. Your students can grade you from what they can even receive at the university level. If you are speaking nonsense, intelligent student knows. Of course, you agree with me. But my final take is this. Examination, it should be maintained, and it is a test for success, and it is also a test for failure for those that are ready to fail, for those that are not prepared for it.
Tunde Aluko.
Yeah, first I have to correct one notion that one of the members of said that examination is actually a necessary evil. It is not actually. It is because of the environment you find yourself. If our educational system is well funded, things are put in place, there are versatile ways of examining people that you will even go for examination and you will even be happy doing it. Yeah. Presentations, you know, class participation, even do they even test your emotional intelligence? It is not about pen and paper. Another thing I want you to go home with, go online, go and check the budget of some schools abroad and come to Nigeria and just oppose it. And you know why you continue to take examination. I mean, you know why examination in Nigeria is and will continue to be a test of failure.
All right then, a round of applause for him. Good news. Your final take on this before we bury the hatchet right here.
Given every opportunity, every child is a potential genius. And I would like students not to be dependent on piecemeal that we are given in the classes. They should go home and flesh the bone. They should burn their midnight candles, work day and night, because it takes a hard-working man to succeed. Because the height that great men attain is not by a sudden flight, but it's when their contemporaries were wallowing away in slumberous sleep that they were working very hard. And don't want us to live here with the impression that examination is not a test of knowledge, because that will make us practically lazy. Let's continue to work hard. If you work hard, whether somebody victimizes you, whether the system is wrong, if I was not a good student, I won't be talking here today. And if you were not, you won't be speaking here today. It is not the exam that determines what will become in the future. Yes. That is for success. But for you to be able to show, to prove what you have, please read very hard. Even if they score you low. I've seen a case where lecturers mark somebody down. The lady took them to the panel and won the case. If you're good, you stand on your own. You'll not be intimidated by the environment.
All right, then. Well, it's our custom here on The Big Issue to encourage or to urge our debaters to mend fences. What happens on the big issue stays on the big issue. Come on, feel free, shake hands and embrace. That's the essence of the show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our debaters.
Brother,
Uwabara Good News, Tunde Aluko, and Ola Arowolo. Well, that's the show this week. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Femi Akonde TVC. You can also follow TVC News. Our handle is @TVC Connect and also @TVC News NG. Well, until next time, the show has been The Big